Hello, Knights fans. Back with our second edition of the Knights Baseball Roundup this season with head coach Gary Puccio. Coach, as the season approaches, let's first talk about Saturday's first pitch dinner. He had almost 250 people, largest turnout in the history of the event. Great buzz surrounding this young team. Talk about the night and all the prestige of it on the whole.
Yeah, it was a good night, I have to say. I mean, it went very well considering there was only I could have where it's 60 degrees all week. It's like 65 this week, and somehow we fit in an 8-inch snowstorm in between on the night of our dinner that started almost coinciding with the start of the dinner. So, I mean, it was incredible. But yeah, considering, I mean, everyone showed up for the most part. We had like maybe 4 or 5 people that didn't come. Everybody else showed up. To almost 250 people. It was a great night. Something like 60 alumni were there, and I thought it turned out great. Matt McCann was basically the highlight of the night. He had a great speech about what it takes to work hard and get drafted. He was terrific. All the speakers were good. So the night went pretty smooth. We were very happy with what happened. Tommy Grabilia had brought a whole group of his 1978 teammates who had never come before. And every one of them came up to me afterwards and raved about the dinner and everything else and said that they'll be back next year and they're going to try to bring in other teammates. And that's what it's about. That's why it keeps growing. It's the alumni that make it grow.
Yeah, you talked about those alumni. What was the main message as they talked to some of the younger players, especially with you have a big freshman class, as you saw some of those discussions take place? What was their big message to some of the newcomers here for the Knights?
Yeah, a lot of them like Joe Rigoli and John Bittman and Steve Dombrowski, they all talked about just believing in yourself and making the adjustments to become a Division I player. And we're very young, and everyone knows we're very young, but we got an awful lot of high-touted players, high-touted recruits, and we think that, like I've said many times to them, this reminds me of the 2012 team. It depends on when they finally get on that learning curve and understand the things you got to do at Division I to be a winner and be successful, things that are different than what you did in high school. And as soon as that curve happens, I think this team's going to have a great second half, and they're going to be in contention. I mean, I don't know, you can never promise you're going to get to the playoffs, but I see no reason why they can't contend for it.
Definitely, and one of the major facets and the highlight of that dinner is the first pitch, as where it gets its namesake there from this year. Trent Valentine, the freshman right-hander, got the ball. He'll be starting on Friday against Middle Tennessee State. Talk about Trent's maturity and why you think that he's the guy you want to kick off this season.
We the good part is our coaching staff was not in agreement totally on who should get the ball, which is a good thing because that says that we feel we have a few kids who are very talented, and that's obviously a plus rather than figuring out what do we do for the first game. So Trent stepped up. I mean, he's just got great talent. I mean, I don't want to put pressure on him as a freshman, but there's something special about him. You can just see it. You can just tell the way he takes the mound. He's got great poise. I just think this kid's got one hell of a career ahead of him. He's just a quality player and a quality kid, and we can't wait to see him out there. I did put a little pressure on because I told him that no one's ever won that got the first pitch ball, and Joe Flack made sure to remind me that he got a no decision at least, that he didn't lose. So hopefully Trent will give us a shot. I mean, the big disadvantage we always have early in the season is our pitchers are going to go 4 or 5 innings, and they've been outside for a month and a half, so their guys are going to go 7, 8 innings right to the main bullpen guys. So you always had a little bit of a disadvantage, but this time of year is about getting their feet wet, getting these freshmen accustomed to the level they're at, and hopefully by the time the conference comes around, Trent's a seasoned, entrenched in his role, and he's going to do good things. That kid's going to be a career you're going to want to watch the next 4 years.
I mean, the last time we spoke, I think it was 20 degrees outside. The snow was coming down. It snowed Saturday. But today and tomorrow is supposed to be some nice weather. How important is it for your guys to really take advantage of this warm weather and some clear climates here before they head down south to Tennessee?
Yeah, it's always better when you get outside, even if it's only for a few days, because your outfielders, how much can you do with outfielders indoors? They can't catch fly balls. They can't make long throws. So they really don't get to do the things they need to do. So when we get outside, we make sure we have a couple of outfield relay drills built in, and the outfielders taking fly balls so that they can learn to adjust to a ball in the air and everything. And I just think it's so much more beneficial being outside that I'll take an hour outside over 3 hours inside any day of the week. So we lucked out this year that we've gotten out at least a reasonable amount of time, and hopefully that means, every year, like the first trip, someone misses an infield pop-up or an outfield misjudges a ball. And usually it's because it's the first ball they're seeing. So at least our guys have seen a couple. And hopefully, that's going to help us not make some of the mistakes you would tend to make early in the season.
And now on to this week's opponents. As you open the season down there in Tennessee, you get three teams, as you mentioned, have already been playing a little bit down there, so they've gotten a couple of the kinks out. This will be your opening chance to take the field down in Tennessee. So you first start with Middle Tennessee State. You have Belmont and Lipscomb also on the schedule this weekend. What have you seen from those opponents? They're three teams that you don't play too often.
Right. Well, obviously, like you just said, they've been not only outside practicing, they're playing game. I mean, Middle Tennessee's playing Alabama today, so they've already played 3-4 games, and they got another. By the time we see them, they'll have 5-6 games under their belt. Same thing with Belmont and Lipscomb. So we're at a disadvantage automatically anyway. Middle Tennessee's a big running team. They like to run. I know they have something like 10 stolen bases already in 12 tries in their first 3 games. So we know they're going to be aggressive on the bases, and they're going to take it to you. They're a little bit more of an offensive geared team. Belmont's more a strong pitching and defensive team, so it's a good contrast for our guys, especially the young guys, to see some quality pitching. And Belmont's definitely got some quality pitching, so that'll be a big difference. And then Lipscomb, the third game, they've done pretty well the last couple of years, so that's going to be a tough test too. So it's going to be an uphill battle over the weekend, and hopefully we come out of it with a W, and we come out of it with a little more experience for our guys to be better prepared for the next week.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, how you talked about getting ready for conference play. How much does it help these younger pitchers to get ready for the NEC when they play some tough teams? I mean, you have a freshman on the mound against a team that really likes to run, put pressure on you. I know you'll count on Evan McDonald behind the plate to hold the runners as well. But how much of this is learning, and how much do you preach that to the younger players? Is this, hey, use this to get ready for NEC play?
I think that's one of the biggest problems I had last year. I bit off a little too much because our pitchers weren't really ready. You know, we played Xavier and St. John's and the 3-game series with both, and St. Louis, and so I kind of, there was not the break. Like every weekend was against a powerhouse, so they never really got a chance to get their feet wet and get comfortable with throwing in those roles. And also, in fairness, they weren't at the level pitcher that I think some of these freshmen are. I mean, this recruiting class is ranked 68th in the country for good reason. We got some real quality freshman pitchers, but they're freshmen. And I think, as you said, the more they play, the more they see these better teams and realize you're not going to get away with an 0-2 pitch down the middle, that you make that mistake, it's going to get hit. It's not like high school that you're going to be able to throw the ball by somebody. I think the sooner they learn all that, then their talent's going to show, and they got talent. So I really like this team. I like its chemistry. There's not too much not to like about this team. We got some pretty good depth. We got real good camaraderie, and I think we got some legitimate talent.
Definitely. Well, good luck this weekend.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you with a couple of W's next week.
So the season has finally arrived. The Knights will begin play this Friday with Middle Tennessee State. They'll take on Belmont on Saturday and Lipscomb on Sunday. So definitely be sure to check back at FDUKnights.com for live links to follow the action and for all the recaps and updates.